Hi guys, it's Sky today, and I wanted to start off this video by just welcoming all of you to my channel that I've wanted to start for a while, but now I'm actually finally going to start it. Basically what I want my channel to be about is I want to do sort of rant videos, and I want to sort of talk about some different things. Like, I want to start off by just talking about a few things that, like, I've thought about, and some things that I've dealt with, some things that I haven't dealt with, but that I think need to be addressed in a way. And then after I'm done with that, if my channel ends up expanding, what I want to do is I want to kind of like talk about other things that people want to hear my perspective on, if people like what I have to say about things, and then so on. And then eventually, once I get more into this channel and once I get different equipment, I also want to do makeup tutorials too, because I like to wear a lot of makeup and I think it's really fun to do. So yeah, I'm just going to tell you guys a few things about myself. I go by Sky, and I really like using makeup, and I really like, I guess, having long hair. I'm so awkward, sorry. But yeah, I have some opinions on things, and like sometimes I don't really like to share my opinions because a lot of my opinions are really unpopular. And so this is a way that I feel, I guess, confident sharing my opinions, you know? And I know that some of the stuff that I say might attract hate and whatnot, but that's honestly okay, because it's not what my channel is going to be 100% about in the future. Once I finish covering some topics that I want to talk about, it's kind of going to be up to other people what I rant about, I guess, if other people even want to hear what I have to keep on saying. And after that, I kind of want to transition over and do more tutorial stuff, because that's what I kind of imagined myself doing as a YouTuber. The only reason I'm doing this right now is so that I can like start things off and sort of get these things out of the way that I also wanted to kind of go on about a little bit. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is kind of my outside perspective on relationships. I feel like since I've never been in a relationship, I have a perspective on it that a lot of people don't. Like, I don't look at it biasly. I don't look at it from one side of the relationship. I look at it from like I look at the entire relationship, you know? I look at like what each party is doing right and wrong, and I can see it for what it is because I'm not biased, like I said. So my friend and I were talking the other night, and we were just sitting around a bonfire, and it got like really deep in the conversation, which I love, by the way. But anyways, we were talking, and basically one of the points that got brought up is the reason why a lot of relationships don't last, and the reason why a lot of divorces happen is quite simply because the people in those relationships just aren't willing to work together and to actually make it work. They just kind of go straight to divorce and straight to giving up on things. But I feel like if a lot more people would actually take the time to figure out what the problems are and to actually solve those problems firsthand, then they would be able to continue their relationships without having to divorce. And another point that got brought up is that you can really honestly be in a relationship with almost anyone as long as both people are willing to compromise, you know? Like, you don't have to have the same music taste as someone, you don't have to, like, I guess, have the same world perspective as someone, you don't have to have the same dress style as someone, you can be a completely different person from someone, but as long as, like, you're willing to, like, live with that person and compromise things, and like do things to make them happy and not just put yourself first, but instead sort of balance everything out, then you can be in a relationship with almost anyone, you know? And like, you have to be happy doing it too, of course. Like, for some people, personality means something, and that's totally fine. Like, if that's what you go for, and if that's what you want in a relationship, then it's totally fine to go for that, you know? But in reality, like, there's some people that, like, I guess personality is important, but like the person, like their thoughts and whatnot aren't really important, I guess, to them. But if those people are willing to like work together, and if they're going to be happy living together, then their relationship should by all means work out just fine, as long as they're actually willing to put that together, you know? And that's what I was kind of thinking about, because I was thinking, I mean, you know, you see around all the time, people are getting divorced, people are breaking up, and then they don't really like solve their problems first. They don't really look into their problems right away, and instead they just jump to that, when in reality they probably shouldn't, because if they actually took the time to think about their problems, they would be able to solve them firsthand, and they would be able to continue their relationship without having to break it off. And then that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, I guess. I don't really know where to go from here. But this is, quite frankly, just something that needed to be said, is that you just have to be willing to cooperate with someone, even if they're a completely different person than you. Then you can, as long as you're willing to cooperate and just accept what they're doing, but then also sacrifice things for them, and balance everything out and still be happy doing it, then you can be in a relationship with basically anyone. And the same thing applies to friendships, you know? Like, I've been friends with people in the past that have, like, wanted me to, like, be a certain person and act a certain way, and it obviously just didn't work out with them, because that wasn't something that I was comfortable with, and that wasn't something that was, like, I guess, good and healthy for me to do, and that's fine. Like, if that's something like that in a relationship, where you're not comfortable with doing it and where it's not healthy for you, then that's not a good relationship for you to be in, you know? Like, you have to be comfortable, but you also have to be happy and healthy with the person that you're in a relationship with. And the same thing goes with friendships. Like, you can be friends with almost anyone. The issue isn't finding people to get along with. The issue isn't, like, finding people who you're naturally gonna, like, click with, I guess. Like, if you talk to somebody and you just, like, you're decent enough with them and you just, like, I guess, just have, like, a civil conversation with them, don't make it all about yourself, ask about their life, but also tell about your life, etc., then you could be friends with pretty much anyone. Obviously, you're just going to get along with some people better than you will with others naturally, but as long as you, like, try to get along with somebody, you can be friends with basically anyone, just as you can be in, just like you can be in a relationship with almost anyone. Obviously, there's some people that you're going to be happier with, but just because you haven't reached, like, the highest potential of happiness with one person doesn't always necessarily mean that you should risk that to go with someone else that might not make you as happy. Like, I mean, obviously, ideally, you want to find somebody that you're completely happy with, but sometimes that just doesn't happen, and sometimes you're with somebody who you're happy with, and you have to be at least happy with them, and, like, you might not know that you're, like, your happiest or whatever, but as long as you're at least happy with somebody and you're, like, putting them into the relationship as an equal person, and as long as you're, like, respecting them, then honestly, your relationship should work out just fine with that person. I have a really hard time talking right now because my nose is really stuffed up, so I'm trying to go slowly, and I hope that you guys are even able to understand what I'm saying, because if you can't understand what I'm actually saying, then you obviously won't understand the point that I'm trying to get across in this video. So I think that's kind of where I can end it here. I really don't have a lot to say on this matter, so this is just going to be a short video. Like I said, this is probably going to be the first one I post because this is kind of an introduction as well. So with that, if you like what you see, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of what I have to say or do in the future. And if there's anything that you want to kind of add onto the subject, you can feel free to do that in the comments too. I'll make sure that's, like, open and everything. And then, like I said, there's going to be more of these videos coming, and then after a while I'll kind of cover subjects that any of you guys want to see. It'd help if you left me links, because that way I'll know exactly what I'm looking for. And then after that, I want to move on to more tutorial stuff in the future, which doesn't mean that I won't do this anymore. That just means that that's not going to be my focus. So, with that, you guys, I will leave this video off here, and I will talk to you later in the next one. Have a nice night, everyone.